If you think not chasing a woman makes you look disinterested or weak, think again. When you stop chasing, it doesn't make her forget about you. It makes her wonder about you. That single shift changes the entire dynamic. You're no longer just another guy trying to impress her. You become the guy she's trying to figure out. And trust me, that shift in energy, it matters more than most men realize. Here's the deal. We've been fed this idea that if you like a woman, you're supposed to show it constantly. Texts, compliments, plans, attention, all of it. But what most guys don't realize is that over-pursuing can backfire. It doesn't always come across as confidence. Sometimes, it comes across as insecurity or desperation. On the other hand, when a guy knows how to hold back, stay grounded, and stop chasing, it flips something in her psychology. She starts paying attention in a different way. This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding how attraction actually works. Because the truth is, when a man pulls back, a woman doesn't just shrug and move on. She starts thinking. She starts noticing the space. She starts asking herself questions she wasn't asking before. That's where the curiosity kicks in, and curiosity is a powerful thing. So in this video, we're diving into what really goes on in a woman's mind when you don't chase her. We're going to break down the psychology behind it, how it affects her perception of you, and why this approach is more powerful than most men think. Welcome to Man of Substance. If you're someone who wants to understand attraction on a deeper level and start moving smarter in your dating life, you're in the right place. Let's get into what happens when you stop chasing and she starts noticing. 1. She notices the silence first. The first thing a woman picks up on when you stop chasing isn't your confidence or your mystery. It's the silence. And it's louder than you think. She's used to attention. Maybe not from every guy, but from you specifically. The messages, the check-ins, the little compliments, it might not even have been over the top. But when it stops, it stands out. Women are naturally intuitive when it comes to shifts in attention. They don't need a calendar to track how often you reach out. They feel it. Imagine you've been texting a girl for a week. Conversations were flowing. Everything seemed good. You'd initiate most of the chats, ask her how her day was going, throw in a few compliments. She responded, sometimes enthusiastically, sometimes just enough to keep it going. Then one day, you don't message her. Not out of spite or strategy, you just pull back. No good morning, no, how was your day? Nothing. That silence? She notices it. Even if she doesn't message you right away or act like it bothers her, it hits. She starts thinking, did something happen? Why isn't he texting today? Is he losing interest? These thoughts might not come all at once, but they build fast. Now here's the part most men overlook. This silence creates contrast. When you're consistent with attention, it becomes the norm. She expects it. And once something becomes expected, it starts to lose its value. But when you take that attention away, even briefly, it disrupts the pattern. And that disruption triggers curiosity. You didn't announce it. You didn't say, hey, I'm backing off now. You just went quiet. That's powerful. Not in a manipulative way, but in a way that shifts her focus. She may not say it out loud, but internally, her mind starts circling. What changed? Why now? What makes this so effective is that it's subtle. There's no argument, no scene, no explanation. Just space. And space makes people think. If you've ever had someone suddenly stop messaging you out of nowhere, you know the feeling. It lingers. It stands out more than any compliment or clever message. This is how the dynamic starts to change. Not because you pulled some move or played a game, but because your absence created presence. She's no longer reacting to what you say or do, she's reacting to what's not there. And here's what's interesting. She won't always respond immediately. Sometimes, she'll wait. She'll hold off just to see how long it takes for you to reach out again. But during that wait, the silence is doing the work. Her mind's already there, wondering, replaying past interactions, looking for clues. So when you stop chasing, the very first shift doesn't come from some big realization or emotional breakdown. It starts with something simple. The moment she realizes you've gone quiet. And once that hits, nothing feels the same. Second, her ego takes a hit. When you stop chasing a woman, one of the first things that happens, right after she notices the silence, is a hit to her ego. That's not about being mean or trying to hurt her. It's just human nature. People get used to attention. And when that attention stops, it feels like something's off. For her, it's personal. If a woman's used to you showing consistent interest, whether that's texting often, always being available, or making her feel special in some way, she builds a sense of security around it. It tells her, this guy likes me. I've got his attention. She may not always show how much she values it, but she definitely registers it. So when it suddenly disappears, her self-image takes a small hit. Now, this doesn't mean she's falling apart or crying about it. That's not the point. But it does mean she's forced to reconsider how much power she thought she had in the situation. When a guy is always chasing, it can inflate her sense of control. She knows she can get a response whenever she wants. She knows you'll keep showing up. It boosts her confidence, sometimes even more than the connection itself. When that stops, it causes friction. She starts wondering why you're not doing what you used to. And here's where things get interesting. Her mind can go in different directions. She might start thinking you've lost interest, or maybe you've found someone else. Either way, the focus shifts from her feeling in control to her trying to figure you out. This little blow to her ego often triggers a reaction. Not always a dramatic one, but something shifts. Some women will try to get that attention back. Others will stay quiet, but keep an eye on what you're doing. Either way, you've changed the frame of the interaction. The reason this matters is because women, like anyone, are driven by emotion. And ego plays a big part in how someone responds in relationships. If you've always made her feel like she's the prize, and suddenly you stop acting that way, it forces her to reevaluate where she stands with you. It's not about being cold or playing hard to get. It's just about not giving away your energy without awareness. When you take a step back, it shows her that your attention has value, that you're not just handing it out without reason. That alone can create a ripple effect that gets her attention in a way chasing never could. Her ego taking a hit isn't the goal, but it is often the result. And when that happens, it starts to level the playing field. She's no longer sitting in the driver's seat. Now she's thinking, watching, and possibly re-engaging. 3. She starts questioning your value. When you stop chasing, something unexpected happens. She starts questioning your value. Not because you did something wrong, but because now she's forced to look at you differently. Here's what's going on. When you're constantly giving attention, making yourself available, and showing interest, you're positioning yourself as someone who's eager to win her over. That can make her feel desired, which is nice, but it also makes her think she's the one holding the power. The more you chase, the more she feels like she doesn't have to do much in return. You're already sold. But once you step back, the whole dynamic changes. Now she's not so sure where you stand. And that uncertainty starts to make her think more deeply about you. Who are you really? Why aren't you chasing anymore? Are you as interested as she thought? Or maybe, are you out of her league in ways she didn't notice before? This is where her perception starts to shift. Instead of just seeing you as the guy who's into her, she starts seeing you as a man with options, with standards, with boundaries. And now, she's not just thinking about how much you want her. She's wondering if she's done enough to keep you interested. That's a big shift, because now, your value isn't being measured by how much effort you put in to win her. It's being measured by how grounded and secure you are when you stop trying so hard. This doesn't mean she suddenly puts you on a pedestal, but it does mean she starts taking a closer look at you. And if you carry yourself with confidence, if you don't come running the moment she pulls away, and if you're clearly not desperate for her attention, that stands out, especially in a world where so many guys are constantly trying to impress. Women naturally look for value in a man, but it's not always about money or looks. It's about how you carry yourself. When you stop chasing, it sends a message that you're not placing her above yourself. And that quiet confidence makes her curious. She starts thinking, maybe there's more to this guy than I realized. Most men try to prove their worth by doing more, texting more, calling more, planning more. But sometimes the strongest message you can send is to do less. Not out of spite, not to play games, but because you know your value and you're not afraid to let her see it on her own. That space you create by not chasing gives her a chance to look at you through a new lens. And if you've been showing up as a strong, grounded man, she'll start noticing things she might have missed before. 4. Attraction grows in the uncertainty. One of the biggest mistakes men make is thinking that constant clarity creates attraction. It doesn't. Attraction isn't built in full certainty. It grows in the space between "I've got him" and "I might lose him." That space is what keeps things interesting, and when you stop chasing, you naturally create it. When a woman knows exactly how you feel all the time, with no room for interpretation, she may appreciate it, but it doesn't always spark strong desire. It feels secure, maybe even sweet, but it lacks tension. And whether people admit it or not, that bit of tension is what makes someone think about you when you're not around. By not chasing, you're no longer giving her full access to your thoughts and feelings. You're not being cold or distant. You're just not handing everything over right away. That space makes her feel something. It gives her time to reflect, to miss you, and to wonder what's going on with you. That's where attraction has room to breathe. It's not about pretending to be mysterious. It's about creating a natural sense of mystery by being focused on your own life, instead of putting all your energy into her. That shift is subtle, but powerful, because now she's not sure where you stand, and that uncertainty, when handled the right way, pulls her in more than any compliment or romantic gesture. People value what isn't easily handed over, and that applies to attention and emotional investment too. When something feels earned, it feels meaningful. So when you stop chasing and let things unfold instead of forcing them, it adds weight to your presence. She starts to wonder what makes you different, why you're not acting like every other guy, and that curiosity keeps her engaged. The goal here isn't to manipulate or play games. It's to understand that constantly putting everything on the table removes all sense of anticipation. When you take a step back and stop chasing, you let her lean in a little. You let her think. And in that thinking, attraction quietly grows. Uncertainty doesn't mean being hot and cold. It means giving her just enough to stay connected while still keeping your own balance. You're not over-explaining yourself. You're not checking in just to stay relevant. You're allowing her to feel your absence and wonder what you're up to. That wondering? That's where emotional engagement starts to build, because it's no longer just about how much you like her. It's about how she feels when she doesn't have your full attention. And that experience, that slight uncertainty, often does more to create attraction than any direct effort to impress her ever could. 5. She assumes you have options. When you stop chasing a woman, one of the first thoughts that can cross her mind is, he must have other women around. Whether that's true or not, the impression is powerful. People naturally fill in the blanks when something changes, and in this case, the blank gets filled with the idea that you're no longer chasing because you don't need to. That shifts how she sees you. Most guys don't realize how obvious it is when they have no options. Constant texting, always being available, replying in seconds, rearranging plans to make time for her. It all screams that she's the only one you're focused on. And while loyalty and genuine interest are great, when it feels like you're placing all your attention on one person too early, it can come off as too eager. Now, when you pull back and stop doing all those things, the energy changes. You're no longer over-investing. You're not jumping through hoops. You're calm, focused, and a little distant. That distance creates space for assumptions. She may start thinking, if he's not texting me, who is he texting? Or, he used to be more available? Something's different. Think about it like this. A guy and a girl have been chatting regularly for a few weeks. He's usually the one to text first, start conversations, and make plans. Then, he doesn't reach out for a day or two. He's not rude, he just pulls back. She notices the change, but instead of asking directly, she keeps it to herself. Still, her mind starts going. Maybe he's dating other people, she thinks. Maybe I'm not the only one. That thought alone can trigger something deeper. It creates competition, even if it's only in her head. Suddenly, your time and attention feel more valuable because they're not guaranteed. You've stopped acting like she's your only option, and that changes the frame completely. Whether or not you're actually talking to anyone else doesn't matter. What matters is the perception that you could be. And that perception puts you in a stronger position. Not because you're playing games, but because you're carrying yourself like someone who has choices. And that's attractive. Women are drawn to men who are selective, not desperate. When you're not chasing, it signals that you're not trying to prove yourself. You're not begging for validation. That calm confidence suggests that if it works out with her, great, but if not, you'll be fine. You have a life and possibly other options. That mindset is more powerful than any over-the-top effort to impress her. So when you stop chasing, her mind often jumps to one idea. He must have someone else. Whether she says it or not, she feels it. And that small assumption can shift how she sees you in a big way. 6. Control of the dynamic shifts. When you stop chasing, something important happens beneath the surface. The control of the dynamic shifts. This doesn't mean you're trying to dominate or play games. It simply means the energy between you and her starts to balance out. She's no longer the only one being pursued. Now she has to consider what you want too. In most early interactions, especially when a guy is doing all the chasing, the woman is in the position of power. She gets to decide whether to reply, whether to make plans, whether to take things further. Meanwhile, the guy is trying to win her over. He adjusts his approach based on how she responds. He reads into every text, and he's constantly reacting to her behavior. But once you stop chasing, you stop reacting. You're no longer waiting on her every move to decide what to do next. That pause creates a shift. Now, instead of you being the one who's always reaching out or trying to push things forward, she starts to notice the absence of effort, and she reacts to it. That's the moment when the dynamic becomes more equal. You're no longer chasing approval or connection. You're standing still, focused on yourself, and letting her choose whether or not she wants to meet you where you are. That subtle change in energy can completely shift how she engages with you. What's powerful here is that you haven't forced anything. You haven't argued, made demands, or pulled some manipulative tactic. You've simply withdrawn the extra effort and allowed space for her to respond. That space can make her start thinking about you more, wondering why you're not behaving the way she expected. Now, instead of being the one trying to prove something, you've become the one who's watching and deciding. You've put yourself in a position where you're evaluating things too. That's where the dynamic flips. It's no longer about whether you're good enough for her. It becomes about whether she adds value to your life as well. This kind of shift often catches people off guard. They're used to the attention. They're used to setting the pace. So when that stops, it challenges them to rethink the connection. It can even motivate them to step up or lean in more. The most important part of this is that it shows strength. Not loud, aggressive strength, but quiet, grounded strength. You're no longer just hoping she likes you. You're giving her the chance to earn your interest too. That shift in control doesn't mean she loses interest. In fact, it often does the opposite. It creates a more balanced, respectful dynamic where both people are bringing something to the table. And that's where genuine attraction and connection can actually start to grow. 7. She comes closer or moves on fast. When you stop chasing, the outcome usually goes one of two ways. She either comes closer or she moves on. And honestly, both are good outcomes, if you're paying attention and handling it right. If she comes closer, it means the space you created worked in your favor. She noticed your absence, reflected on the connection, and decided you were worth her time and energy. That's a strong sign of mutual interest. Not just because she likes you, but because she chose to invest back. That kind of woman is the one you can actually build something with. She's not just enjoying the attention, you've sparked something deeper. But what if she moves on? That's where a lot of guys start to panic or take it personally. They think they did something wrong by pulling back. Truth is, if she disappears the moment you stop chasing, it probably wasn't solid to begin with. She might have only liked the attention, not you. That's a hard pill to swallow, but it's a reality men need to face. This is where the reflection comes in. If every time you stop chasing, women pull away completely, you've got to ask yourself why. Is it the type of women you're choosing? Are you leading with value? Or are you trying too hard to impress? Do you even know what you're looking for? Or are you just hoping someone picks you? Too many men tie their confidence to how much attention they get back. They keep chasing, not because the woman is right for them, but because they're afraid of being ignored or rejected. That's not strength. That's fear dressed up as effort. It's time to flip the script. You shouldn't be chasing just to keep someone around. You should be connecting with people who genuinely want to be there. And you find those people by stepping back, staying grounded, and watching who leans in. When a woman moves on after you stop chasing, that's clarity. That's the information you need to stop wasting time. And when she comes closer, that's confirmation that you did the right thing by holding your ground. This isn't about playing cold. It's about knowing your worth and acting like it. Women notice when a man respects himself, when he has boundaries, when he's not desperate for validation. That kind of energy pulls the right ones in and filters out the ones who were only there for convenience. So take this as a wake-up call. You don't need to chase to prove you're good enough. You need to become someone who's focused, self-aware, and selective. Then let her actions show you where she really stands. Let her come closer or let her go. Either way, you'll be better off. When you stop chasing, you stop giving your power away. That simple shift changes everything. You start to see who's really interested in you, not just in the attention you give. And that's where real connection begins. Not with pressure, not with effort overload, but with clarity and confidence. Here's the part that might challenge some of you. If a woman loses interest just because you stopped chasing, she was never really into you to begin with. That one's hard to hear, but it saves you time and energy you don't need to waste. The goal isn't to become cold or distant, it's to move smarter, to stop leading with neediness and start leading with self-respect. When you hold back, when you stay centered, and when you let her show you what she's about, you'll attract better women and better outcomes. I want to hear from you on this. Have you ever stopped chasing and noticed a shift? Did she come closer, or did she fade out? Drop it in the comments. I read them, and I'll be replying. Let's have a real conversation about it. This channel is all about helping men move better, think sharper, and understand these dynamics without the usual noise. If you're tired of guessing and want more straight-up, real talk about women and relationships, stick around. Thanks for watching. And remember, sometimes the strongest move is to stop moving first.